You knew it was coming. Another generation, another opportunity for me to promote myself using Wonder Trade. I mean, surprise trades as they're now called. I love surprise trades. It's basically like a random Pokemon generator and it's just so easy to get lost doing them for hours upon hours. So I'm gonna do 1,000 of them. So if you're new here, I've done this 2 times before and it's been a lot of fun. The Pokemon I'm gonna use for surprise trades is Magnemite. This is non-negotiable. If you wanna know why I have to use Magnemite, then you're gonna have to go back to the first video. This is some deep CandyEvie surprise trade lore. So Magnemite was in the very first Scarlet and Violet trailer and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be doing this again, aren't I? Getting the Magnemites in BDSP was a very long process, so I crossed my fingers and hoped that Magnemite would be easier to find in this game. And just my luck, you can actually find it pretty early game. You can find it outside Levincia, so I got to catching. Once again, I needed to catch 1,000 magnets and nickname every single one YT CandyEvie. Look, I'm just promoting my small business, okay? Respect the hustle. Speaking of supporting my small business, I'd like to give a big thank you to Zen Market for sponsoring this video. Zen Market is an online shopping service that has access to over 10,000 different Japanese stores, including Amazon, Rakuten, Yahoo Auctions, of course Pokemon Center, and newly added Mercari. You can have a look via my landing page down below to directly check out some Pokemon goodies. You can get exclusive figures, plushies, and much more. For example, the first ever set of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet cards were just released. These aren't even out in English yet. So hypothetically speaking, you could use Zen Market to get these very cool Pokemon cards early, and you could hypothetically flex on people with them. It's free to register an account, and after international shipping, there's only a 300 yen service fee for each item, around $2. But new members get a free 300 yen gift, which is basically like getting the service fee for free on your first item. They also offer free parcel consolidation, which means that you can purchase from multiple stores and still ship everything in one parcel, which is super convenient. There are tons of shipping options available, so you can pick what works best for you. Thanks so much again to Zen Market for sponsoring this video. So back to my Magnemite escapades. So the last time I was catching hordes of Magnemite, I ended up finding a shiny. So I wondered if I'd find one this time too. If I found one, would I have to Wonder Trade it? But alas, I did not find a shiny Magnemite. While looking for Magnemite, I found 5 other shinies. But they're not Magnemites, so I guess that means I get to keep them. Oh well. But after many hours, I finally had 1,000 Magnemite ready to trade. Kind of. While in BDSP you have 40 boxes, enough to store 1,200 Pokemon, in Scarlet and Violet you only have 32, so in order to make space I had to trade a bunch of Pokemon off the file one by one because there's no home connectivity yet and it took a very long time and I just want to complain about it. Okay, I'm done now. But it was time to trade my magnets out into the world. In no time at all, I started to receive the usual messages from people that had received my Magnemites, and I knew that my self-promotion scheme was working. I also started getting quite a few messages from people receiving fake YT CandyEvie Pokemon. While I encouraged this because at the end of the day people are still spreading the good word about my YouTube channel, once again I must say, if you get a Pokemon with my name on it, if it ain't a Magnemite, it ain't me. I regret to tell you, your YT CandyEvie Mimikyu is a fraud. So wasting no time, what Pokemon do we get? For the first time in CandyEvie Wonder Surprise trading history, I actually didn't get a single one of my own Magnemites back. Part of me wonders if this is because the game just came out, so there are just so many people using Surprise Trade. Usually I get quite a few of them bounce back at me though, so I was quite surprised. I wasn't expecting to get any shinies or hacked Pokemon from these trades. If you don't know, there are various websites that'll spam a bunch of hacked shinies on Surprise Trade to promote themselves. Sword and Shield Surprise Trade is full of them. I didn't get any in my 1,000 trades, but to my surprise, there are already some of these Pokemon floating around, so be careful, I guess. I didn't get a single shiny when I did Wonder Trades in BDSP, so I thought this would play out the same way. Oh well, no shiny for me. That's shiny. What? Thanks, Kylie. Pig. The only shiny that I found on Surprise Trade was this Lechonk. I don't have any reason to suspect that it's hacked, so I guess someone was just feeling very nice. Thank you, Kylie. You're a real one. Sometimes you'll get Pokemon holding items, so I was really looking forward to getting a free handout, but I ended up being very disappointed. Out of 1,000 trades, I only got one held item, being this Iron Thorns that was holding a booster energy. How dare more people not give me free stuff. It's kind of a shame that mail isn't a thing anymore, because getting a piece of mail on a surprise traded Pokemon would make it a much more personal experience. I would definitely not abuse this and write rude things on my mail. Yeah, come to think of it, that's probably why they removed mail, huh? I always loved looking through the Pokemon nicknames because it adds so much more personality to each Pokemon. Personally, I like to give Pokemon very formal human names. I'll catch a Wurmple, take a look at him and be like, yeah, you look like a Frederick. And apparently, I'm not the only one who thinks like this. Look at these beauties. We've got Sue the Hattrem, Tanya the Cyclozar, Todd the Tauros, and my personal favorite, Gerald the Buizel. I also got a Deerling named T, which is kind of cute, and this Dunsparce named Dun-Dun. But it's time for my fave part, the stats. So this is the first video where I can't really analyze Pokemon by region because they don't have all of the Pokemon in the game, so it'd be some pretty skewed stats. So we're just gonna go right into the top 10 most surprise traded Pokemon. In joint 10th place are Diglett and Tarantula, with 16 trades with a rate of 1 in every 62.5 trades. 9th place is Fletchling with 17 trades, a rate of 1 in every 58.8 trades. 8th place is Hoppip with 18 trades, or a rate of 1 in every 55.5 trades. Joint 7th place are Igglybuff and Yungoos, with 19 trades each, or at a rate of 1 in every 52.6 trades. 6th place is Charcadet with 22 trades, a rate of 1 in every 45.5 trades. And the top 5, in joint 5th place are Azurill and Fido with 27 trades each, a rate of 1 in every 37 trades. In joint 4th place, we've got 2 starters, Fuecoco and Charmander, each at 28 trades, or a rate of 1 in every 35.7 trades. In 3rd place is none other than Lechonk with 33 trades, a rate of 1 in every 30.3 trades. 2nd place is Eevee with 35 trades, a rate of 1 in every 28.6 trades. And by a fair margin, the king of Paldea's surprise trades is Sprigatito with 46 trades, or a rate of 1 in every 21.7 trades. What's really interesting to me is that even though I got tons of Charmander, it ended up being my 4th most traded Pokemon. I actually didn't get a single one until I was 23 boxes in. For those remaining 340 Pokemon, Charmander actually ended up being the most traded Pokemon, at a rate of around 8.2%, or around 1 in every 12.2 trades. Any guesses when I started trading box 23 of Magnemite? It was December 1st. Do you know what else happened on December 1st? The Terror Raid event for Charizard also started on that day. So what happened was, as soon as that event started, people would breed the Charizard they got from the event, probably for competitive use or more likely shiny hunting. And so Surprise Trade became flooded with all of these little reject babies. It's also pretty interesting because the Pokemon I got the second most of was Eevee. Now Eevee's a very common Pokemon on Wonder Trade anyway, mostly from people breeding it, but I did notice that before the Charizard event, I was getting quite a lot of Eevee with different Terra types, and this ended up being because there had been an Eevee event going on, so it really pushed up the numbers. It's pretty fascinating to me because I may have made my stats, but they're likely to change and be influenced by what events are going on in game at the moment. You want to know a really sad statistic? So Sprigatito and Fuecoco were everywhere on Surprise Trade. Sprigatito was literally my most traded Pokemon, with Fuecoco not being too far behind. Notice how I haven't mentioned Quaxly. I kind of don't want to say it, I just feel bad. Quaxly got a total of 6 trades. I didn't think he was that unpopular. I don't get it. He's just a little duck. I like him. It's brutal though. I got 7 times more Sprigatito than Quaxly. It's just cruel. So how about those dex entries? There are 400 total dex entries, but you can't surprise trade Koraidon and Miraidon, so that takes it down to 398. I think that you can surprise trade the other legendaries, but I don't really want to check to make sure, so we'll just stick with 398 as our number. Well, in 1,000 trades, I managed to get 235 unique Pokemon. One of these Pokemon was a Haunter, which evolved, so I'm gonna count the Gengar and make it 236. That makes up 59% of the entire dex. I did get a bunch of Charmander, but it's not actually in the dex. dex, so it doesn't count toward entries. This is a pretty wild number and the highest dex completion rate I've had across any of these videos. I think the main reason for this is just how the Pokemon are distributed. Of course, most of the top 10 traded Pokemon are still Route 1 stuff like Lechonk and Fletchling, but you have access to such a wide variety of Pokemon early game that this really reflects in what you see on Surprise Trade. Surprise Trade has never felt like this much of a surprise before, and I'm all for it. It's really interesting comparing these stats to the ones that I got doing Surprise Trades in BDSP. BDSP has a lot more tradable Pokemon than Scarlet and Violet do. It has 457 Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet's 398, but the most traded Pokemon in BDSP, Bidoof of course, got a massive 72 trades to Sprigatito's 46. There's just so much more variety for Paldea's Surprise Trades. But you think I'm done with stats? Nah, you should know better, I ain't done. Something I haven't really touched on in these videos are Pokemon marks. They're this little feature introduced in Sword and Shield, where every Pokemon you find in the wild has a chance of having a mark. There are lots of different variables that determine how likely you are to find different marks. So in total, I got 27 marked Pokemon, so around 1 in every 37 Pokemon had a mark. The most common mark I got was the uncommon mark with 11 trades. I got 8 trades that had one of the time of day marks. I got 1 Pokemon with a Titan mark and 6 with a personality mark. Overall, the chance to get a personality mark is 1 out of 100, but the chance to get any individual personality mark is around 1 in 2,800, so these are some pretty rare guys. And technically, the rarest mark is the rare mark, which has a 1 in 1,000 chance of being found on a wild Pokemon. I didn't get any in my trades, but one of the Magnemite I traded actually did have a rare mark, so I hope whoever ended up with it takes good care of it. I noticed that out of the 1,000 trades, I got a single Pokemon with a ribbon. This Pikachu I got in the very last box had a classic ribbon, and then I realized that it's actually the event flying Pikachu that you get as an early purchase bonus. So thank you, kind stranger. So where in the world did all of these trades come from? Back when surprise trades were wonder trades, it'd actually tell you what location it was coming from before you made the trade. I adored this feature, it just added so much more depth to the experience. But since that's not a thing anymore, I had to find a way around it. So since it doesn't tell you where they come from, our best bet is to look at the languages of the Pokemon that we get traded. There are 9 languages we can get: English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Chinese Simplified, and Chinese Traditional. So who came out on top? Yeah, there's no point building it up. The top language was English. It was always going to be English. English language Pokemon, again, made up more than half of the total trades I got, with 53.9% or 1 in every 1.9 trades being an English language Pokemon. Also, as expected, second place is Japanese, with 25.8% or 1 in every 3.9 trades being a Japanese language Pokemon. But here's where the stats really start to differ from the last video. In third place is Chinese Simplified, with a share of 5.4% or around 1 in every 18.5 trades. Joint fourth place are German and Spanish, each at 4.1% or around 1 in every 24.4 trades. Joint fifth place are Chinese Traditional and Italian, each at just 1.4% of the total, or around 1 in every 71.4 trades. And the rarest language Pokemon on Paldea's surprise trades is Korean. I only got 6 Korean language Pokemon, making for a percentage of 0.6 or around 1 in every 166.6 trades. These are very different stats from what I got last time. What time of day you trade can make a significant difference with time zones, of course, but I didn't really do anything differently from my last video, which I think is reflected by the proportion of English language Pokemon I got being almost the same between the 2 sets of data. I got a lot more Chinese language Pokemon this time around, but while last time there wasn't much difference between Chinese Simplified and Chinese Traditional, this time I got nearly 4 times as many Chinese Simplified language Pokemon than Chinese Traditional ones. I have no idea why. I got half as many German Pokemon, and Italian, the rarest language out of my last set of surprise trades, appeared twice as often this time. Korean was the second rarest language last time, so it's not a massive surprise there. When you're getting into such tiny numbers, even 1 or 2 trades can skew the statistics quite a lot. It may have taken me an obscene amount of time to put together, but 1,000 trades is a small sample size for this kind of thing. I doubt it'll ever happen, but I would love it if Pokemon published the official stats for this. this. Something curious to me is that Spanish language Pokemon now have a different marker. It used to read SPA, but now it reads SP-EU, which is a significant difference. It's quite common for games to be localized in both European Spanish and Latin American Spanish because although they're both Spanish, there are lots of regional differences. Pokemon have only ever released games in European Spanish, and if you look around, there are certainly fans that very much want an actual Latin American Spanish translation. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but if they're bothering to make the distinction, then maybe they'll release both versions eventually. Fingers crossed. Now I did all 1,000 of these trades off stream because I felt like if I were to do it on my live stream, twitch.tv/CandyEvie, then people would try to trade with me and it'd influence the results. And I need my accurate statistics, so I just did them all offline. But I thought it would be a fun experiment to do an extra 100 trades afterward on Twitch and see what happens. Something I can expect by doing this is that the languages of the Pokemon are going to be quite different to the stats that we just went over. This is because trading at a specific time of day is going to influence what Pokemon you get. So while just over 50% of the Pokemon I got in my first sample were English language, in this smaller sample it jumped up to nearly 70%. I'm not gonna say the bad number, I'm family friendly. And while Japanese Pokemon made up a quarter of all trades before, now they only make up around 10%. But something interesting happened this time. I barely got matched with anyone from the live stream at all, and there were quite a lot of people sending me stuff. I know this because I got people to tweet me pictures of Pokemon that they'd got that were meant for me. We got just a Magikarp called CandyEvie, hi CandyEvie the Lechonk, and my personal favourite, a Cubchoo named Candy Sneezy. I was confused as to why I wasn't getting any of these trades. When I did this to BDSP, I got matched up with tons of people from my live stream, but then it all started to fall into place. I did that live stream for BDSP quite a few months after the game came out, whereas this time it had still only been a few weeks since Scarlet and Violet came out, just after Christmas too, so there were clearly just a lot more people using Surprise Trade this time. If you go on X and Y's Wonder Trade, it's pretty dead and you'll most likely get matched with the same person a few times, but Scarlet and Violet's is busy. The actual Pokemon I got were fairly similar to the 1,000 trade sample. My most traded Pokemon, Sprigatito, accounted for 3%, which is on par with what I'd already got, but it actually wasn't the most traded Pokemon of the livestream. That title goes to Lechonk and Charmander, which each got 6% of the trades. It's kind of funny because the Charizard event ended weeks ago, but there are still so many of these guys on Surprise Trade. There have been several raid events since then. I actually did manage to get a couple of Scorbunny, which would have been from the Cinderace event, which is nice. But Charizard is clearly just too powerful. His influence is everlasting. This is just for a bit of fun though. Doing 100 trades usually isn't going to reflect how likely you are to get a certain Pokemon. Like during my live stream, I got more Knackley than I did Sprigatito. Does that mean that Knackley is the new king of Surprise Trade? Maybe. Probably not though. But for now, this session of surprise trades has been completed. Perhaps it is finally time for my Magnemites to have a rest. Or not. If Pokemon keep releasing games at the rate they have, I'll have another video doing this in no time. I guess I got some magnets to catch then. See ya.
Hello, thanks for watching as always. This is the part of the video where I promote my Twitch stream. I'm live right now looking for a shiny Magikarp in Black and White 2. It's a lot of fun. Hope you can join, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!